and a very warm welcome to all of you. My name is Samreen Gauri and I'm a part of the FICCI ARISE team. ARISE, which stands for Alliance for Reimagining School Education. On behalf of FICCI ARISE, I would like to thank all of you for joining us today in the eighth and the last webinar of the FICCI ARISE Higher Webinar Series for Remote Schooling, Teaching for the New Normal. Today, we'll be discussing about practicing professionalism in schools with specific reference to building parental involvement and student well-being. Without further ado, let's start with the webinar proceedings. I would like to welcome Mr. Anirudh Khaitan, Treasurer FICCI ARISE and Vice Chairman, Khaitan Public School, Ghaziabad. I'm delighted to share that Anirudh has been one of the founder members of FICCI ARISE and has been extremely passionate about getting reforms in teaching and learning in the sector. I would now request Anirudh to open the webinar. Over to you, Anirudh.
Thank you, Samreen. And thank you everyone for being here. Today's topic is very close to my heart. I'm a father of 4 girls. And I remember when I had my first child, I thought I should just give her to the school and they'll teach her everything. Now being into the education space myself, I understand how important it is for parents to be involved in bringing up a child. Statistically, children only spend about 14.6% of their time in school and they spend the rest at home. So without a strong parent relationship, you cannot give an wholesome education to a child. We have to find the right balance between a teacher and parent. With that, I would just, like to welcome all of you again to the final webinar in this FICCI ARISE and Higher webinar series for remote schooling. Most of us know that, a little bit about FICCI, that FICCI is an apex chamber which represents the industry interests of the Indian industry and trade. They're in many sectors. Established in 1927 at the behest of the father of the nation, Shri Mahatma Gandhi. It mobilizes consensus amongst various stakeholders for advocacy of policy and regulatory issues and sharing of best practices. In fact, they have brought in a lot of reforms in education. FICCI has more than 2.5 lakh members from the public and private sectors and hosts 84 expert committees and task forces representing 65 sectors of the economy. It has been active for over a decade in various verticals of education, namely higher education, vocational, and school education, and is the first non-governmental organization to suggest research-based policy reforms to government. You can find all the research papers on education on the FICCI ARISE website. We have witnessed a manifold growth of self-financed independent schools in India, which today caters to over 43% of the school-going children. India is very unique in that sense. We have one of the largest school-going children going to private schools. The current pandemic is expected to not just have enormous economic consequences, but also have a devastating impact on global education. Well, whether it'll be devastating or we take this opportunity to make it better is up to us. However, the teaching community has embraced the challenge and has moved from classroom teaching to online teaching in a seamless manner. A big thanks to the entire great passion and perseverance of our teachers that teaching continued despite schools being closed. The whole landscape of education was transformed by teachers using digital tools and creative approaches. Through this webinar series, we are aiming to share best pedagogical practices that have worked and provided inspiration to educators in their quest to adapt to the new normal of online teaching. Once again, I would like to thank Pallavi from Higher for joining us, for joining in as the knowledge partner in our webinar series. Higher is a teacher professional development and evaluation company which enables educators and schools to make informed choices about classroom teaching through data-driven personalized coaching programs for K-12 educators. I would now like to welcome Ms. Pallavi Dwivedi, founder of Higher, who has joined us as the moderator for today's session. Pallavi is an education policy specialist, having previously worked with the UN and the Government of India, and has trained teachers across curriculums. She is also a trained IB and IGCSE secondary educator and is a fellow of Teachers College, Columbia University, New York. I would like to extend my gratitude to our member schools, Seth Anandram Jaipuria School, Lucknow, Indrapuram Public School, Ghaziabad, and of course, very proud to present one of our own members from my own school, Khaitan Public School, who have joined us as speakers today as edu experts. I would also like to welcome especially an expert speaker from Mexico, Cecilia Flores, who has joined us for today's session, which is on building parental involvement in student well-being. Before I hand over the session to our moderator, I would request all the viewers to share this webinar on their Facebook live stream link, on their social media pages, helping maximum educators benefit from this. Over to you, Pallavi. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for that introduction, Anirudh. And just like you said, this session is also equally close to my heart. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the last of the series in Higher and Fikia Rise's webinar series, Teaching for the New Normal. I'm Pallavi Dwivedi, and I'm the founder of Higher. Higher is a teacher professional development company, and we have been absolutely delighted to be a part of Fikia Rise's endeavor to bring on board and to have us on board for this exciting initiative to connect educators and to share classroom ideas that have worked for schools across the world as everybody has moved to teaching online. I'm very delighted to be sharing today's space with 4 extremely innovative educators. I'd like us all to welcome Mr. Anubhav Singh. Anubhav is the Western Music and Filmmaking faculty as well as the media head at Seth Anandram Jaipuria School in Lucknow. We also have with us all the way from Oman, while she is originally from Mexico, Ms. Cecilia Flores. Cecilia is a children's book author in Spanish and is also an international primary school educator. We also have with us Anupam Sharma. Anupam is the primary coordinator at Indrapuram Public School in Indrapuram, Ghaziabad. Last but not the least, we also have with us Ashima Srivastav. Ashima is the primary science faculty for CAIE at the Khaitan Public School in Saibabad. School closures have been very hard for students. They've been very hard for parents, and they've been particularly hard for the primary school tiny tots, because for many of them, expressing this anxiety, expressing this disconnect from their normal, from known familiar situations is not perhaps even possible. And for many, coping with these anxious tiny tots, for a lot of the parents, coping with restless, listless children at home, trying to give them some sense of security and comfort which school previously used to provide is proving to be extremely challenging. And as is the fact that many, many parents across the world are having to double up now as educators, because a lot of the work that primary school teachers do in the classroom requires a certain amount of adult supervision. So a lot of these challenges have essentially brought us into a situation where teachers are trying their level best to build stronger partnerships with parents, and they're helping students to emerge more socially as well as emotionally resilient at the other side of this lockdown. I'd like to start today's discussion by sharing with all of you a very interesting tweet that I saw a couple of days back on my Twitter account, and I'd like to start today's discussion with that tweet. I did share this tweet at the session for secondary school educators as well, but this is particularly poignant for us because this parent whose tweet I'm going to share is actually a primary school parent. So if you take a look at, for a second at this tweet, this parent has decided that their child will not be a part of virtual school. They've gone ahead and done away with their child's participation in first grade. And while they appreciate the kind and loving and caring ways of the teacher, this parent believes that online school is absolute insanity, and survival and protection of their child's well-being comes first. How did it come to this? Many of us have tried our best, have gone from pillar to post to try and make sure that student learning goes on uninterrupted. But we still have a lot of children out there and a lot of parents out there who are struggling. So the focus of today's session is really what is at the heart of this tweet. How is it that we can build stronger connects between parents and teachers, between teachers who are trying to reach out to students, and how is it that in this process uh, of of enduring learning, in this process of uninterrupted learning, we are not doing away with student well-being, and that student well-being really is at the heart, in fact, of what we're planning for our students. So the focus really of today's discussion is going to be on three key aspects of our planning and teaching and engagement activities. The first of which is social and emotional learning. How are we getting students who are still learning to navigate their own emotions, 6, 7, 8, 9-year-olds, who don't even have sometimes the faculty to be able to explain to us what they're experiencing. So for them, it's perhaps even harder to be able to share how this lockdown, how disconnect from school is making them feel. And all of the anxiety, all of the unsettling feelings that come in with being cooped up inside the house at all times, not being allowed to go out and play. How do we build in those experiences of play into our teaching processes that provide such strong social and emotional connects for students? And very importantly, how do we create these opportunities for reflection for our students? How do we get them to actually connect with what they're feeling, connect with what they're seeing outside, what's happening in the world, and really be able to process it? For many of us as adults, the pictures we see of people suffering, the news that we hear about, all the hard-hitting statistics that keep coming in of how dismal and grim the situation is, the 7, 8, 9-year-olds are also listening to the same news. They're also processing the same images and graphics. How do we help them make sense of that? How do we help them actually understand how to cope with all of this and process it and reflect on it? And also reflect on how it's making them feel, which will go perhaps a step forward in the direction of making them more aware and engaged global citizens. And largely, one of the aspects that perhaps sticks out most and is perhaps at the heart of that parents' tweet, which we started out by talking about, is our teaching focusing right now too much on student achievement? Is it focusing too much on assignments, on tasks? Is it focusing too much on deadlines and completion? Or is it giving grace to our students and our
A small
parents?
reminder on time.
Absolutely. Thank you for that, Samreen. With that, I'd like to, in fact, hand over to our first participant, as to our first speaker for today. And I'd like to invite Anubhav to come forth and share what he, as a music teacher, has in fact been doing with his school. And Anubhav, over to you.
Well, thank you, Pallavi ma'am, and thank you so much, Anirudh sir also. I just love the fact, the way how we mentioned Corona angels. Yes, it's very true. We indeed are, teachers, this whole community are the Corona angels who are guarding not just the student, but also helping them to cope up, to go through this crisis. Is my screen visible, ma'am? Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible, Anubhav.
All right. Okay. So today I'll be sharing some of the best practices which we are doing to build the parental involvement student well-being. All right. So as mentioned, there are a lot of challenges that we faced. So how we did, so in the beginning, there were a lot of parents who were skeptical about the approach, and there were many questions. And some of them were also voicing their opinion that is it even possible for a 3-year-old or a 4-year-old child to have online classes and also have some greater learning out of it. So this was keeping this in our mind. Our primary focus was strengthening the parent-school connect. So we did that with the help of parental orientation and training, with the regular training for online, and also we did regular PTMs as well. We use these tools, which is very common to every single person, direct call one-on-one, Google Forms, surveys, email, WhatsApp. So we use this and we got in regular touch with the parents. Also, we made them understand that why is this important. As we all know that it is not just the teachers, but it's all of us together sailing in this whole scenario. So we made them understand this thing, and it is what it is. So we requested them so that there is no other way than to accept what it is and also to adapt to the new learning ways. All right. So understanding that this is a very sensitive topic, right? And also there are it's not just about teachers teaching, but there's a lot more going on right now, right? So there are emotions like temper, worry, anxiety. So how do we deal out of it, right? So, with this thing, I think one of the best thing with teachers were doing were, they were not just acting as a teacher, but also acting as a counselor, right? So they did a great job, and hats off to the teachers over here. Now, how can we get the maximum, knowing the whole current scenario, how can we still get the maximum parental involvement? As it's very true that a strong parental connect is built when the students are happy. And it is a very strong point, when the students are happy and engaged in the learning process, right? So we've been practicing social emotional learning, as you mentioned, ma'am. It is a great tool to, it helps the child to understand and for self-awareness and self-management. So we've been using this, but I think over this time when everything else is closed, this plays a very vital role. So teachers, you all can take this screenshot of the screen. This is a chart which we prepared and we've shared with the parents. So this is a reflection on parents' end, which shows that, they can reflect on their behavior. There's a similar chart for the kids also. So help clearing the house, stopped when I was told to stop. So these are, they can keep a check of this. So take a screenshot of this. For the online classes, what we did is that we made a schedule to follow. And then we gave, in the initial months of our online classes, we set some ground rules, which were being followed by every single person. And we also focused on experiential learning and activity-based learning. As Pallavi man mentioned that, grace over grades. I totally agree to this. I mean, we need to understand that, probably for us teachers, it was a little easy, probably we can say not so easy, but still we were able to transit from the physical environment to the online classes. But understand a 6-year-old child or maybe even a 3-year-old child, what would be going with the mind. So we need to focus more on the connect than the content, all right? So that's so true. And also we cannot ignore the fact that parents, we cannot have a class without the parents. So we have to welcome that. We do to take this turn into an opportunity, and I'll tell you how we do that. So how can we build the connect with the students during this lockdown? So we can keep students engaged with the meaningful learning, all right? Then we can organize some online contest, dance, music, art, photography, right? We can also run the hobby clubs, STL classes, physical fitness and summer camps. We are already currently running with the summer camp, so you can do the same for your school. All right, now before I move forward, I would like to show you this video. Right. So as we all know, we've already discussed that, it is a new environment and child needs, they love to talk, they need to express. So we teachers need to be very mindful about the activity which we are giving, the task which we are giving. So I think experiential learning, we can use it even anything, right? And that works wonder. You can see here, he has no access to the musical instrument, but still he is able to express. Can you see he's happy? Yes. Similar way, a lot of people learn to express themselves through art, and you can use that tool as well to build that connection. All right, so now moving ahead with the parental involvement. One thing which is I want to tell you that, we have to be very mindful about the task that we give to the students. So we need to know where to draw a line, and the task should be majorly focusing on the student, so it should be student-oriented task than the parent doing the half of the thing, right? So we have to be very mindful about this. I'm going to share some of our best practices that we are doing in our school. Starting off with the virtual assemblies, this is a great idea. It not just involves the parents, but also students. In fact, parents are loving it. So you can send a video in advance, right? And then you can discuss the questions, vocabulary, idioms, thought of the day in the next day. Parents are requested to even continue this even after the lockdown. So this is a great thing. You can convert your classroom into a puppet show, right? These puppets are made by all household things. Similarly, I can just walk over to some of the things which we have done. Here, we are not just having the parental connect, but we will even introduces the grandparents to the classroom. So these are some of the ideas you can go through. Now, so teaching the chapter My Family with the help of song as the parent, you can take this as an opportunity. So yeah, moving ahead with the other one.
सी बातें मुझे बताती है मेरी माँ सब मुझे सिखाती है मेरी माँ सब मुझे बताती है इस भयावह से माहौल में भी
So that's interesting. Another thing you can move ahead.
Anubhav, reminder to open the floor for questions.
Sure, ma'am. So you can conduct virtual events. Also, you can conduct a lot of webinars. These are the links for the parental webinar. You have to make sure that parents are also having the training. Also, I'm going to share some of the amazing resources. You can quickly take the screenshot of this thing. So Google Slide works wonder. Share My Lesson is another wonderful resource. These are some of the resources for virtual travel, NASA and Scholastic. You can build a great connect through the help of social media. Now, as Pallavi ma'am started with the session, I would like to end my session with a testimonial. It all matters. It all depends on the way how you're going about, the way how you're dealing with the kids and how you're enlightening them. So here's a testimonial. You can see that parents are so happy, and she says that she never met you, but she felt very attached. When you say Ati Uppan, suddenly she starts smiling. So this is just a small example of that. With that, I would like to extend my gratitude to the FICCI RISE, Pallavi ma'am, and the whole management. I would like to thank our chairman, sir, Mr. Seshir Japuria, Poonam ma'am, principal of Japuria School, and the whole extended Japuria family. Thank you very much. And also to our Corona angels. Thank you very much. That's it.
Thank you very much, Anubhav. What a wonderful presentation. And it was really, really beautiful to see how you got your parent community so involved with student learning. It was great to see the parents dancing with the children, and I think must have been such a great stress reliever at this point in time. A lot of people are actually asking, Anubhav, how you made that lovely background that you used in your presentation. If you just quickly like to tell everyone.
So I mentioned it, you can do that. A lot of, I think especially with the primary kids, they love a lot of color. You could see the presentation which I prepared. It has a lot, in fact, it has an emoji like me, right? I created that. You do that with the help of Google Slides. So go to internet, search about Google Slides, very easy to use, but it's wonderful. You can create, even I created a virtual classroom. So,
that's great. I'd also like to direct all the users who are looking for information on how to create Anubhav's screen and his background. This information is also available on the Padlet for one of our previous primary school sessions, which was run by one of our other educators, Miss Katie Steers. So if you take a look at that Padlet, you'll also get access to making exactly the same presentation there as well. Great, thank you for that, Anubhav. I'd like to move on now to our next presenter for today, Anupam. Anupam, over to you to talk more about what you've been doing to engage parents at your end.
Yeah. Good evening, everybody. Thank you, Pallavi. It's an honor to be a part of this prestigious webinar series. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes, we can see your screen. Yes.
Great. So good evening, everyone. Namaste. If we teachers are Corona warriors, our kids are no less than heroes. They are the ones who adapted to the new normal more effectively than any adult could. They are staying home obediently. We need to take care of their mental well-being. I'm going to share my experiences as teacher and our journey as a school from parental involvement to parental engagement. We all have felt the power of parental love, and as teachers, we must remember that every child we teach is the meaning to someone's life. This outbreak has brought a lot of challenges as online teaching and learning wasn't as simple as it seemed. But with good planning, this transition could be made smoother. Taking parents on board, we involved them not just for the sake of involvement, but to work together in achieving the desired learning objectives. I believe that for every problem or a challenge, there is a solution that can be turned into opportunity. I would like to highlight common challenges that have come across, especially in the primary learners and their parents, and I'm going to share the solutions that worked well for us. Using, here you can see in on the screens, using technology in the education, that was the foremost challenge that we had. For this, we had conducted rigorous multiple induction programs to introduce the user-friendly technology. Second challenge we could notice is adaptability struggle by our little ones. We stayed in constant communication, made students feel comfortable by keeping the first 5 minutes of the lesson free for smooth coming on board process. The third one, we found out that there could be a struggle in balancing household and parental responsibilities. We reminded parents that there are many ways in which children could learn. And to make it more convenient for parents, we ensured that notification to the parents goes in advance for their ease. This is a big relaxation from arranging things at nick of the hour. Another challenge was anxiety that whether my child would be able to cope up with the new mode of teaching. We ensured to remain available to answer the queries. We kept updating parents about the progress of the students on regular basis, and we reduced dependency of children on parents by giving simpler, shorter, and clearer instructions that our students could understand, use simple materials that are easily available at home and easy for students to use. Less homework, more of experiential learning tasks. While planning our lessons, use of screen time was kept in mind. And we encouraged more offline research. As you can see on my screen, our learners corrected evidence of shadow length during the day, made sundial to check time, investigated evaporation from the salt solution. Likewise, there are n number of activities that could be planned with simple instructions and materials that are easier for children to use. We worked out with parents and asked them to involve the kids in household chores. And believe me, the results are amazing. And this is the golden opportunity for the parents to instill values and understand the importance of staying together in a family, instilling the life skills. The children from primary grades have shorter concentration spans, and they tend to lose interest if they aren't actively engaged. We devised game-based lessons in our planning, Hindi Tambola, tongue twisters, debates in math, and other subjects, and that not only made them active participants, but added fun element too. Further adding to the purpose, we encourage kids to do what they are passionate about. Some of them are using Minecraft educational tools to make their own videos and uploading them on the YouTube. This is something, Gupshup Night, this is something we really look forward to ensure mental well-being of our kids. We enjoyed live music performances by our students, asked riddles, and shared an hour of laughter, happiness, and giggles with one another. We realized that there is so much to online schooling than lessons. Sharing here very few scintillating, heartwarming experiences shared by parents by social media platform where kids are teaching their parents. One of our students, taught his mom the concept of percentage that never got clear during her childhood, and she learned it now. The students are preparing quizzes for their parents, practicing a very important skill of right questioning. I'm sure when we involve our students like this, parents would love to relive their childhood. It's more than just a parental involvement. It's about the 21st century learning. We are inviting parents to share their professional expertise with the students. Recently
Anupam?
we had, yes?
A reminder to open the floor to questions.
Yeah. We lessons on financial literacy by the banker, and the parents share their life, their stories of life and life experiences. We have movements to cherish. Giving here a few glimpses of our personal connect with the parents, I feel while following social distancing, we need to take care that the social connection shouldn't be lost. Sharing here a few mantras for the teachers. We have to keep in mind that when we ask a child, how was his day? What made him feel good? And how is he feeling? Changes the entire mood of the class from formal connect to personal connect. Giving a care call to the parent. And as parents, we must have empathy and respect for teachers. We should openly discuss about the strengths and weaknesses of the child. And we must come forward to contribute towards learning by becoming partners. At the end of the day, the most overwhelming key is to child success is the positive involvement of the parents. Here I have added few resources for parents to use. this you can have it. You can have a look at on the Padlet afterwards. Hope I could add some value to your thoughts. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for that, Anupam. Some great suggestions coming in, some fantastic ideas for things you can do to involve parents. Thank you so much for all the wonderful work. It seems you're working so hard to keep your parent community involved and looking after as well the well-being of your student community. Just a quick announcement. We have now gone live on Facebook. So in the event that any of your colleagues had dropped off earlier, you can tell them to come back on, and we're now streaming live. I'd like to quickly pause and take a question or two that have come up on our Q&A, and I'll open these out to all panelists. The first one is about involving working parents. So any tips on how, given that a lot of offices will now be asking their staff to come back, many of our parents might actually be going into work. A lot of the activities that we do put in place require some element, if not entirely, some element of parental supervision. What are some things that we can keep in mind when we're planning for the future?
Okay, I would like to answer this question.
Sure.
So, the parents would be going to office, yes. So we teachers have to, work hard on keeping them in loop and giving them simpler instructions that, yes, these children, this has to be done by my child. Yes, and this is so simple that these things are there. So parents can plan their day accordingly. And yes, they can, guide their children. Yes, these are the things we have kept here. You can use this for your activity. And yes, helping out teachers in that.
Great, that's wonderful. Thank you for that. Is there any other panelists who'd like to come up with some other suggestions for this as well?
Yeah, I would like to answer this, that keep on encouraging the kids, as we are in this situation where everything is new and uncertain to us. So keep on motivating each other and be supportive to each other. That's the biggest mantra right now I can share.
Absolutely, Ashima. I couldn't agree more. Be supportive. Cecilia, you had a couple of things that you wanted to say as well.
Okay, all right.
Yes, I think just having, later on I'm going to talk a little bit about the materials, but having things at home that they can easily access, that is another way that when you start building that bonding with the parents and the kids, it's going to come as routine for them. You start doing these things now that we are at home and we are doing this on a daily basis. Later on, when they have to go back to work, is something that the kids are going to feel comfortable by doing, like just have those things accessible for them.
Right, and in many ways to also make them self-sufficient, to be able to do these activities in their own time. So you give them enough practice and you gradually make them more confident of their own abilities to be able to do these activities on their own. So great, thank you for that. And with that, I'd like to now ask Cecilia, in fact, to take on and show us some of this great material that she's been working on. So everybody prepare to be amazed with some of the beautiful things that Cecilia has been creating for her primary school students. Over to you, Cecilia.
Thank you. Hello, I am very grateful to have this opportunity to share with you. And I'm going to speak as a we because the work that I'm presenting is in collaboration with my friends Jessica Vargas and Elena Ranz. We have created different materials that we share with the parents, and hopefully some of these are going to be helpful for you as well. Pallavi is going to help me with the presentation. Pallavi, are you?
Share as soon as you are. Okay.
Do you have the presentation?
Yes, I'm sharing my screen now.
Okay. Yes. That is the last one.
That's the first one.
Thank you. So, like I said, something that we need to understand is just as we have diverse students, we have diverse parents. and not everybody is comfortable with technology, with the different things that we have. So what we want to share with you is how you can work with your child to develop their creativity and also to have a bond, have that conversations that can help your kids to feel more comfortable with the work that they have to do. And we can go to the next one. We have created some like Google Classroom virtual classes where if you go there, you can click on the books and you can find different stories in English and Spanish. And we are trying to include our voices in those stories because that's a way that we try to be close to the kids, that they can feel like even though that we are not seeing them on a daily basis that we used to, they can still hear our voices. Next one, please. There's going to be some links that they're going to be shared with you so you can look at the stories. Also, for the many international holidays that we have, instead of having just a them about what they like, what is something we use, like Earth Day or Mother's Day, and we start using things, materials that we have at home that we can share with the kids, toilet paper rolls, and they can create a stationery. This also helps them to have a very organized structure later on, and they can help when they go back to school, maybe they're gonna have their own way to organize their ideas, their thoughts, their space, their working space. Another way is to make stories. Everybody has eggs at home, so maybe you can make some little puppets, some characters. We use our characters or we use clay to have them represent stories or to make games. And these are things that the kids love to do. They can handle. Ask them, if you open the refrigerator, what happened? What do you think the eggs feel when you're gonna take them to get ready to be cooked? So you can use the toilet paper rolls also. You can have to make them like faces, and these are simple things that they can handle. Even toddler kids, we have, I'm gonna share in the next slide, please. The next one, it's about a girl that Miss Anna was sharing a story with them, the color monster. And she was creating the monster feelings with toilet paper rolls. They were coloring the different colors. They were expressing, she was using her face to express the different feelings. And this is a way to get even the little ones engaged in something that they can do with little or no supervision. You know, these kids can be really independent if we give them the opportunity to show how they can work. Also, in the next one, and you can talk about the feelings, how they feel, especially in times like this. You can decorate your home. You can have rocks, you can have different materials, you can have sticks, and people can be able to use them actually to decorate anything they want. In the next slide, you can have things that you can do for people at home. Now in YouTube, we have access to so many different resources. If you want to do origami, they can do something for their family members. They can write notes there. And this is a way that you can promoting things that they have to do in school, but it's not in a way that is so academic. We have to understand that this is a new situation for all of us, and kids do as we do, not as we say. And if we take the time to bring that consciousness to them, to say that everything is gonna be okay, we just have to learn to adjust to this changing world, everything is gonna be okay. And preparing breakfast, having like a different way to express, you know, the biggest resource that we have at home is ourselves. We are all humans, we are all capable to do amazing things. Something that we use, and you're gonna have access to this, is the Rain Declaration. we say this every morning with our kids in our classrooms. And nowadays, we hope our kids are still saying it because it's a way that they connect with their brain. And they have, they can say, you know, I'm in charge. Everything is okay. Everything is going to be okay. This comes from the brain education. Ilchi Lee, it's a Korean guy that many years ago, he started developing things to help people around the world. And it's very important to understand the way that we talk to ourselves, the way that we talk to our kids is very important for them. And then we show them ways to create different things.
Cecilia,
It's gonna...
reminder to open the floor to questions, please.
Okay, so I think that was the last, if there's any question. If you want to access some more materials, you can create games. You can, I made a 3D chess with my class, and you can ask your kids to design their own pieces or to create games with rocks or stories. You know, there's an unlimited amount of resources if we can just look around and see what we have. And if we teach our kids to do that, if we talk to them, it is very important that we build that bond, especially in times like this when we need to understand that this is a changing world that is impacting all of us. And the more resources that we can provide for them, not necessarily through the computer, the better that they're gonna get. So we have a lot of these resources available online in any of the social media. If you look us through Colitas y Trencitas, I'm very happy. India has a very special place in my heart. I was there for 3 years, and I was just very excited to be part of this conversation. So thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing those beautiful ideas with us, Cecilia. It was great to see what beautiful products children can actually make at home with such limited parental supervision. So we can actually remove that dependence on parents for doing a lot of these beautiful things that children can then end up doing themselves and therefore become more self-reliant. And not to mention how healing many of these activities actually are: the doodling, the drawing, the painting, and also, you know, something as simple as making breakfast for a family member and the kind of bonding that engenders. And it's so great to actually make use of household items to really promote student well-being. So thank you for sharing all of that. There are a couple of questions that have come up, some of which are to do with the way in which we can actually help students out where parents only have access to one laptop and they're having to perhaps share that with their child and also do their own work. So any suggestions or any solutions for situations like that, Anubhav?
I think it's a very common situation with every school, with all the teachers and parents. So how we do it, like we reschedule the classes for them, right? Or we use the recordings, we send in the offline content, right? But also, similarly, if, for example, if the students are in 2 different schools and the timings are same, all right? So we also suggest that if they can, reschedule the classes. So I think rescheduling the classes is one of the best thing which works out, and offline content, sending in the offline content. In case required, we also go ahead, teacher takes an extra step to go ahead with the remedial classes. So that's something which we do.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that. Cecilia?
And another is just as they do at school, kids are so used to have their own like blocks of time. They can organize between them to say, I'm gonna have the computer from this time to this time. Just make a schedule that they can print out, it could be visible, so they can even go by themselves and sign up, like, this is the time that I wanna be using the computer. And that's a way that you're promoting that independence for the kids, that they can do it in a way that the parents doesn't have to be the ones in charge of making the rules or setting the times for each of them. So they can have those conversations, have those agreements between them.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that, Cecilia. Moving on now to our last speaker for today. Over to you, Ashima, to talk about what you've been doing over in your classes to promote student well-being and parental involvement.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I quickly share my screen. Thank you once again. I welcome you all over here. So we at Khaitan have done a really great journey in handling this pandemic situation really well. So we kept in mind children and parents' approach and newness to technology and the uncertain things. We teachers had not enough time to plan, so we decided to go ahead with a blended approach. So as we all know that the situation is so unreal and new to so many different ways that we all have reinvented ourselves and adjusted to it overnight. We did not have the luxury to prepare ourselves so as for our children, and therefore we KPS decided to take a very cautious approach towards the distance learning. So keeping all the things in mind, we initially brainstormed. We identified that we need to ensure that all the above mentioned challenges were taken into account, and therefore we decided that it was important that we establish frequent connect with parents to address any issue and reduce their anxiety and concerns promptly. We also decided that it was important to receive feedbacks and accordingly offer support. And lastly, it was very important for us to create a happy and safe learning environment where they can felt connected with all of us. So here we begin and decided to have a blended approach, which involve a step-by-step phase out and transition from asynchronous to synchronous learning. The idea behind using this approach was to ensure that our children and parents should not feel anxious or troubled by the newness of the situation. We wanted them to slowly get down into the rhythm and routine to relax in engaging manner as well. Since our children were too young to be able to do it on their own, we knew we would be required parent support. And we also knew that families were going through trouble situation and uncertain times, and being regiment with a definite about time would have added to the stress also. The feedback we received acknowledged our thoughts, and parents were very appreciative of our efforts gave. It allowed parents the freedom to sit with their children, and when they had time and space, all according to their own convenience. So there, our parents have always been partners in learning, and their support was critical. We realized that they were going to be our conduit during the distance learning phases. Therefore, we should ensure that they were trained to support our children on digital platform. We conducted orientation in various ways, and there we share the blended approach. So we shared in different ways like messages, small group feedbacks, one-on-one feedbacks, then Google Forms. We did every possible measure. And we landed and started our journey with asynchronous element, where learning happened not with timetable schedule. Young children like familiar settings, we all know, and fixed routine. So keeping this in mind, we daily do the welcoming messages and shared by the teacher. As you all know, their well-being and encourage the child to participate in the activities. Here are some evidence that you can take a look. It was very heartwarming for us that our children with learning difficulties and disabilities found the digital platform extremely engaging and showed encouraging participation. As evidence, some of the things are here that they have done best other ways, as Cecilia has already discussed. So we also did the same almost. Another domain, we saw that children getting their creativity out with the STEM activities. Parents really appreciated the freedom and relaxed nature of our asynchronous learning, allowed them and our children to enjoy the activities even more. Here are some academic challenges that we shared: literacy, numeracy, science, and Hindi challenges. And they all were through the blended approach. After 2 weeks, we had a virtual parent connect where we connected parents with a group of 3s and 4s to know how our children were dealing with new interface. We also wanted to check upon their socio-emotional wellness, and the feedback that we received highlighted the need to have face-to-face connect with our children. And therefore, we decided to have a sync element of learning added. And here we started our journey, part 2. This is when we started doing circle time. The unique thing about circle time was it was done in small group settings. Instead of doing with the whole class, in one go, we spread our session over the day and doing it in groups of 8 to 10 kids. This whole process made the things more intimate and children have more time to speak and say what they have to say. The foremost and important thing that actually helped me and my teachers the most to establish routinal and the virtual ground rules. And to set rules, it is really important for a class to go ahead with. So every time we visited our ground rules, as COVID has disturbed our routine, but we tried our level best to match the expectations of real and virtual classrooms. Like, we did a lot of the activities, making them be on time, be prepared, be respectful, to-do list were shared, and every best possible thing was done to make it more happening. We picked activities like 1-minute challenges, scavenger hunt, show and tell, and many more to focus our students of well-being. But when we asked children what they were missing out from the daily routine, then read aloud came out from one of the populist thing. We were very careful in choosing stories which children could relate and connect with their own emotions. Example, how they are feeling being confined to their homes, not going out and moving.
Ashima, reminder to take questions from the floor.
Sure, ma'am. So we have taken check for above things, and here Read Aloud session become really wonderful platform where children felt secured and comforted. The stories we picked for Read Aloud are common feelings that we are going through. We were also mindful and we never leave the parent out. Therefore, we took varieties of ways to present the connect. So you can take a look of how we encourage the parents to be part of our virtual classes. And we teachers were very comfortable dealing with students and the parents community both at the same time. Not only this, we also know that things are not normal at the moment, but our efforts, children life goes as normal as possible. In this regard, we started scheduling once a week counselor sessions as well that help them to overcome from their concerns in very positive manner. Thank you, and over to Pallavi ma'am.
Thank you so much for that, Ashima. It was great to see all the lovely work that you've been doing with your students. There are a lot of questions that have come up, and I'll just quickly open the floor out to two of these. We don't unfortunately have time for a lot more. One of the questions that actually came up in one of our previous sessions as well was to do with precisely about grace over grades. And parents often are very academic or goal-oriented, and it's difficult for teachers to communicate to them that at this point in time, we're not really looking at the grades. And parents do sort of turn around and ask you, so then what's the learning? What does that look like? How do I know if my kid is learning? So how have you been able to tackle that at your end?
I think it is important to understand that, especially for primary kids, we are trying to develop skills. More than the grades, you cannot grade a skill because those are things that you're going to continue developing through your life. And that's how we become lifelong learners. So there is something that we need to recognize in ourselves first as adults and say, I'm still learning. I'm still going through this process. I have to give the same opportunity to my kids to know that when we are developing those skills, if we were to work with them in an emotional side, like work with their feelings, let them know that it doesn't matter that we have a worldwide crisis, we can work together and we can make it through. I think those are more important than knowing if they're gonna get an A or 100 or whatever grade you use there. You know, we are dealing with people, and the most important part that we have is that human resource that we have in ourselves. So
absolutely.
Yeah, I would like to add one more thing. We can, you know, I think some counseling with the parents, because I think that these are not much of the more of the parents. And I would like to quote here what our principals always say, that we are not preparing kids for, you know, 10th standard or the high school, right? We are preparing them for the life, right? And understanding the current scenario, you are pretty much unsure about what the future is going to be, what kind of jobs are we going to have, right? So linking to it, I think grades, I think, you know, the present scenario, learning based on values and lifelong lessons, you know, are more to be given weightage compared to the, you know, content which we teach. So we can do a counseling with the parents. Yeah.
Absolutely, and much of these things are dealt with more easily if you're able to establish a school-wide culture
Yes,
around these conversations. And of course, counseling and sessions with parents goes a long way in helping to do that. But very importantly, sometimes just sharing student work and student achievement with parents also helps them understand what exactly is it that my child is really doing in the classroom.
Yeah.
Right? So sharing student work and making it more visible also goes a long way in sending the right messages home.
And what could be the better way than right now? You know, you can use
Absolutely.
this time as an opportunity.
That's great. So thank you so much for all these wonderful ideas, all the great work that all of you have been doing over the last couple of months. It's been great to see how hard teachers have worked and how they have done everything they possibly could, including learning new skills, attending webinars themselves, learning how to use new tools, coming in and asking for solutions themselves. This is not going to stop. For those of you who'd like to continue learning, Higher is going to be bringing in an entire summer full of learning activities and opportunities for you. So stay tuned. We will be sharing more details about that with all of you very, very soon. Thank you, panelists, for being here with us today. I'd like to hand back over to Anirudh to close today's discussion.
Thank you, Pallavi. It's just amazing the kind of work everyone is doing. I was just blown by the passion and the commitment that all of you have shown, and not only all of you here, but I'm sure every teacher around the world, not only in India. You know, I was thinking about the tweet you mentioned in the start. You know, I know of many parents who are actually very happy about the online program. So I guess you will find all kinds of, you know, parents who are not happy with the program, who are happy with the program. It's fine. It's great. Education doesn't mean just books. You know, education can be of so many kinds. So with that, you know, we have come to the close of our webinars. It has been an incredible effort, reaching thousands of people across the world. Probably, hopefully today, more than 150,000. I would like to thank today's panelists, Ashima Srivastav, Cecilia Flores, Anupam Sharma, Anubhav Singh. Thank you so much for taking time out and presenting to us your own journey. A special thanks to Pallavi from Higher to be a partner for the series. You've done amazing work, and you know, good luck to you. I'm looking forward to your summer programs. I'm going to have a look. Entire team of FICCI Arise, you know, Samreen, Gauri and Malika Marwa, you know who you are. You are the rock of FICCI Arise, both of you. Thank you so much for all the hard work you have put in. It was not possible without you. The leadership team of FICCI and FICCI Arise for the amazing series, for letting us go through with this and supporting us in any way we did. As we wrap up our session today, I would like to also announce our next webinar series with the Cambridge University Press joining as the knowledge partner. Friends, the next FICCI Arise and Cambridge University Press webinar series talks about schools post-lockdown. What, why, how. This is going to be very interesting. Please don't miss it, as they reflect on the what, the why, and how of schools post-lockdown. Have a great rest of the week and stay safe. Thank you. Take care.